Good evening. Welcome back to Bolo Up. So, we were reading this earlier today. This is the second part for Saturday, April Fool's Day. Did anyone play a prank on you? No, they didn't. I didn't get any pranks either. I just can't talk today. And I'm getting over allergies, because everything's blooming. So let's get into this. I hope you enjoyed the last read. We're pretty close to the end of this book. I'm excited to get to the end. I want to know what's going to happen. So continuing on page 469, I welcome you back to Bolo Up, and let's get into this. Turn right, she's whispering to herself as she runs, but I can't make out the words. A prayer, maybe? Here! She skids to a halt and slams the heavy bulkhead door shut behind her, spinning the wheel to lock it in place. Damp, hollow thuds hit the metal moments later. Grant fumbles in her haversack, draws out a wrench, jams it into the lock. Frustrated screams get muted by case-hardened steel, but they're still awful enough to make her shrink back from the door. Make me wish I brought a second pair of pants to work today. God, she breathes. Oh, God. You must be quick. They will find another way in. They in fire suit Katie. You must go where they cannot follow. Excuse me. Grant nods, backs away. The bulkhead is still reverberating from the bleeding knuckle impacts on the other side. The AI gives her directions, and she creeps down to a small locker room off the main server airways. Cams here are frizzling again. Audio sounds like it's underwater. But if you listen hard enough, you can hear them screaming. Grant pulls the Envire suit out of the locker, looking it up and down. A glance lets her know it's too big for her, but not quite big enough. How am I supposed to put this on over my hazmat suit? You cannot. You will need to take your hazmat suit gear off. But that means I'll be breathing contaminated air. You will need to hold your breath. You have to wonder if the AI knows the virus probably doesn't need oxygen. If the computer's just trying to keep her going any way it can. You can see it in Grant's eyes. The question, what's the point of dodging infection if she'll likely be dead soon anyway? Why cling to the hope that there's anything beyond this? But still, she does. With all the odds against her, with the whole verse gone to shit, still she readies herself, sucking in a dozen deep, rasping breaths before gulping down a lungful of air and stripping off her hazmat gear. She fumbles at the Envire suit, dragging it up around her legs. Her cheeks are turning pink as she slips on the gauntlets, slapping the seals into place, dragging her hair from her eyes. Face bright red as she tugs on the helmet, stabilizing the suit controls at her chest and purging the contaminated air inside. She waits, starting to shake now, vainly hoping the virus in the Alexander's air supply can't survive without oxygen as long as she can. And finally, the blue lips and fluttering eyelids finally engages the oxygen supply. Sweet, sweet. Oh, rushing into her lungs as she sinks to her knees. Great heavings, gasps, shaking her whole frame. I'm sure she's just like gagging because she needs that air so bad. She sits quiet for a while, then catches her breath. I recognize this level now. Baby blues peer out through the visor of her bulky helmet. Tech 231. It's the level where Ezra planted my code worm into your memory core. It's how I got access to the Copernicus medical records. Yes. This is his suit, isn't it? The suit he wore to get access through the hull breach. How did you know? She tried to wipe her face, and I realize she's crying. Katie? I used to wear his t-shirt to bed all the time. She shakes her head. To remind me of him when he wasn't around. The suit smells like they did. I am sorry. I truly am. She doesn't say anything, just closes her eyes and holds her breath. And suddenly every cam in the room dies, just like that. At first I thought it was a power hemorrhage, but checking the logs you can see it's no glitch. The AI shut down the feeds. It's almost like it was giving her privacy or something. In the middle of all this carnage and blood and death, where every single second counts, this psychotic killing machine that's X'd out thousands of people somehow finds it within itself to give Grant a few moments with nobody watching. Just one moment alone with her tears. That's fucking weird, chum. 471. Sorry, I had to take a drink of water. 472, countdown to the Lincoln interception of Alexander Fleet. 8 hours, 42 minutes. Current death toll aboard battle carrier Alexander since the attack at Corinza. 2,499. 473, countdown to failure of Alexander life support systems. 11 hours, 37 minutes. Percentage of remaining battle carrier Alexander personnel afflicted by Phobos virus. 99.87%. Briefing note. More data from the Aiden core. Typography. Anomalies present in original. I don't know what that says. I can't see it. Let's see. Can we focus? Camera? Perhaps not. What does it say? Oh, original files. Present in original files. What does this say, guys? Let's see. I'm trying to make room so I can put this book down. She moves in long, slow sounds across the Alexander's hull. Mega boots, scraping my skin. It is cold out here. So cold. Your blood would freeze in your veins. Your eyes turn to ice inside your skull. And even on the edge of absolute zero, she is graceful as a dance. That's Katie. The sound of her breath is only company. All else is silence. And through the ship hurtles through the void at hundreds of kilometers per second. All around her seems still. Just she and the dark and I. Minutes stretching to hours. And meters, 2 miles. Every second brings the Lincoln closer. And still she dances. I think the AI is in love with Katie. Brum, brum. She can see my scars from out here. The gaping holes, the steel burned black by nuclear fire. The pieces missing, the parts undone. I was magnificent once. There is enough of me left to remember that. She skirts around the wounds in my side, leaps over. Titanium bones protruding from my skin. Brum, 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 brum. She does not have much time, this she knows, even in this weightlessness that gravity pulls. The cost of failure ever hanging over her head. And finally, after hours in the dark, she spies at it, a small hatch, illuminated by distant starlight, marked with the number 99. She crawls up a service ladder, breathing hard. She claws the hatchway and at last slips inside. Brum, 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 bum, 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 brum. 482. Surveillance footage summary prepared by analyst ID 7213-0089-DN. Grant slips through a service hatch on deck 99 almost 2 hours after she disappeared off internal cams. She leans against the wall, hands on heels, exhausted. Her face is swollen with blood. Not knowing the difference, her heart was still pumping against gravity that just wasn't there. Catching her breath, she stabs at the airlock controls. But a flashing red light signals it's still unsafe to remove her helmet. What's wrong with this thing? She demands. Why won't it cycle? It cannot. The hole in this sector is breached. Quit. Well, it's not like I can take my helmet off out there anyway. You know, she's in the middle of space. Why would she want to take off her helmet? Indeed, and no oxygen means no afflicted. I'll break out the champagne. Unless they're wearing Enviro suits, of course. So, no champagne? Then is this what you're saying? You are below standard age for alcohol consumption regardless. Grant rolls her eyes, but I swear I see the beginning of a smirk on her lips. Hefting her tool bag over her shoulder, she unseals the punctured air lock and steps beyond. There is no O2, but gravity still functioning. She stomps along the corridors lit with dim scarlet light, and she follows the AI's directions through the maze of corridors. And I will go ahead and conclude this for now and start it again. We're at 14 minutes. So come back to bolo up and hear the rest of this story. And we'll see you next time. Because for now, world, you have a hold on me. So I will be back. I'll talk to you soon.